Let's talk about Polkadot, which has given us 5 nice presents going into the Christmas season. 5 parachains have now launched on top of Polkadot. Polkadot, of course, is another Ethereum competitor, so to speak. Basically, they want to attract all these blockchain programs, whether it be DeFi, NFTs, maybe even enterprise stuff, onto its blockchain itself. They've launched through this parachain auction 5 different protocols on top of it. I'll hand it off to Zach to kind of give the nuances of it. But this is a pretty big deal for the Polkadot team and also for the Polkadot ecosystem because basically now they have functionality. Now they have some projects working on top of it. If you want to be able to take a loan out, you want to do some like DeFi stuff or NFT stuff, you can now do it on Polkadot. You don't just have to use Ethereum or Avalanche or some of these other projects out there. Of course, Polkadot, the DOT token, was basically flat on the news of this launching, even though it was a pretty big deal. But we are kind of like in a mini bear slump right now. So maybe that doesn't mean much. Zach, can you kind of walk us through what this means? Like 5 parachains launching on top of Polkadot?
Yeah, it took me a while to wrap my head around Polkadot. I'm not going to lie. In terms of ecosystems, it's one of the more complex ones. So the thing that I always remember about Polkadot, we talk about layer 1 blockchains, which are the sort of the undergirding thing on which these applications, these lending or NFT applications exist. The thing about Polkadot is that it's like this layer 0, right? So it's a further abstraction level. And the thing about these parachains is that you can think of them as the layer 1s that live on the layer 0 that is Polkadot. So Polkadot has been in development for many years. It had its Kusama testnet, which was a big hit, and now it's sort of like ready for prime time. And I think what this means for the Polkadot network when these parachains went live is that like this is a new day. This is the dawn of a new era for Polkadot and a new model towards securing these various layer 1 blockchains. So zooming out, I think that's what this moment is about. Again, whether or not people will end up using these blockchain networks, Acala, parallel finance, whatever the case may be, whether people will start gravitating towards those, I think that picture starts coming into focus now. And that's why this moment is exciting because, for years, Polkadot has been something that's in the future. And now all of a sudden things are building on Polkadot and things are live on Polkadot. So it's going to be interesting to see if, these networks, this sort of like federation of different blockchains can, pose some competition to, Ethereum, Solana, Cosmos, etc. Those existing networks that already have a bit of a first mover advantage. But there's a lot of excitement around Polkadot. We're seeing a lot of sort of investor interest migrate over there with various projects. And this to me is, again, the stage lights just went on and it's prime time for Polkadot. And that's why this was a big deal.
I'm still learning about Polkadot. And I have a question quickly for Zach. So I'm still learning about Polkadot in real time here. And so can you explain how these slots work? So there's like 100 slots available and what happens?
So like there was initially there was all these crowd loans and there was this complicated model that there was this complicated sort of game theory model that tried to prevent like last minute sniping, right? Like what they were trying to avoid was like some rush of capital to come in at the last minute before a snapshot was taken and win one of these coveted first 5 slots. And so what they did was they did this crazy model where there'd be like a random snapshot taken over time. So over the course of, I guess, the last couple months, like all these projects have been doing these crowd loans where people who hold DOT, which is the native asset of Polkadot, they contribute their DOT to receive benefits in the native token of these various projects, these various layer 1s that are going live on the layer 0 that is Polkadot. So they've been doing this auction process. It's been weird. I think they're moving toward a more like permissionless way to like launch these networks in the future. But my understanding is that there's like 100 of these slots lined up, ready to go. These are the first 5. They've each raised like a ton of money to get this thing off the ground. And now we're seeing the first 5 at least go live in production.
Did that answer your question?
That may have not answered the question at all. Sorry about that.
Polkadot
is confusing. One day,
it's interesting.
One day I'm just going to get it on the show, and everyone is going to witness it in real time.
It's like a shared security mechanism or something, right? Like if you can like maintain the security of these layer 1s on an underlying layer 0, or so Polkadot's builders would have you believe, you have a more secure and robust network and ecosystem of various things. But I'm going to toss this to Naomi. She's probably got more interesting stuff to say.
Not really, but I do have sort of a remark, a pondering that I want to ask, because I wonder whether this is going to be enough for them to take market share away from Ethereum in a significant way. Because it's, it seems like it's really interesting, but we've seen so many really interesting, amazing innovations come out recently. And Ethereum still just has that first mover advantage where everyone has built on there. And it's the same way that you have all these Ethereum level 2 scaling solutions, and they're all competing with each other, but they're not necessarily interoperable with each other. Then you have something like Solana come out and, Binance Smart Chain, and they're like, well, we could bring it to layer 1. It'll be easier. But you just haven't seen that giant migration over there. People are still sticking to Ethereum, even though they do seem to be superior innovations coming out. So Ethereum really does have this embedded, I don't want to say stranglehold, because I mean, it's awesome what they're doing, and that sort of seems like a pejorative, but they do have this, this cemented place in the ecosystem, and people are still building on top of them. And I mean, it's very interesting to see what Polkadot's coming out with, and maybe this is enough to actually bring people over there, seeing as they already have this inbuilt competitive model where they have all these different chains to choose from. I mean, it's kind of interesting. I'll be watching this to see what happens. But Will, I think I saw your hand go up.
Yeah, we talked about this, I think, a week ago or so on the Hash as well, where you kind of had like this battle between these Ethereum competitors, right? We had Avalanche launch this year. We had Polkadot now go up. We've had Binance Smart Chain, Near Protocol, like all these kind of third place blockchains kind of competing for Ethereum in second place. And I think that's only going to heat up more so. But 2021 was really like that battle for the base layer, where we saw all these different protocols be going for Ethereum's place as the second coin that everyone knows about. And I think it's going to be quite a while before something changes. Like no matter what you're doing, like Ethereum's still going to be the household name. And it's like Near Protocol or Avalanche, or whatever, they might be useful and developers might build on them, but it's going to be a while before they can really take over some of Ethereum's market cap. We might not ever see that actually happen as well. But Zach, I'll give it to you. There's
a lot of households, and gas on Ethereum is expensive. So that will be the question. Mm-hmm. Will mainstream crypto, will mainstream DeFi live on Ethereum or some of these upstarts? Big question. We'll be watching it.